All right, we're live. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to tonight's training. Let me check on my rooms here. Our streaming is looking good. Here. Webinar room, folks. If you guys could just tap in, let me know that you can see me, that you can hear me, that you can see my screen. Let's click on over to our YouTube stream. And if you guys would please do the same, let me know that you can see me, that you can hear me. I know we had a little bit of an echo the other day. So let me know who's here. And we will get started in just a couple minutes. I'm going to give it maybe 2-3 minutes for anyone else who's joining us to show up. And yeah, we'll get started, okay? In the meantime, if you guys have any questions from the previous evening, from the previous sessions, please drop those in the chat. I'll try and knock some of those out for you very quickly. And then we're probably going to save the majority of any Q&A until the end. That way I can kind of stay on target, stay on track. All right, sounds good, sounds good. All right, cool. So yeah, I'm opening it up for any questions. It could be about things from day one, things from day two, or just wholesaling questions in general. Today we're going to be talking about utilizing AI and automations. This is how wholesalers who are even brand new to the business are quite frankly doing deals a lot faster. They're doing it less expensively, and they're doing it with less effort. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I'll give you guys a little bit more of a preview in just a second. Again, I'm going to give another 2 minutes for anyone who might be showing up. And yeah, drop those questions. Again, nothing's off the table. So any questions you guys have or questions about your area, your market, also let me know, did you do those exercises, right? Anytime I teach, I want these things to be tangible exercises, things that you don't just, listen to for motivation, but things that have a direct actionable item, right? So for example, did you do your budget audit, right? Did you look over some of the websites we discussed? Sorry, if you look at some of the websites we discussed, do some research and get a better understanding of your market. Are you laser focused on your one strategy? Remember, I still have some gifts for you guys tomorrow, so you'll get that the KPI calculator scorecard. Also tells you where you need to be in terms of choosing an appropriate strategy. So all that good stuff is still to come. Meantime, let me get my presentation ready. Cool. All right, any questions? Any questions? Now is the time. I'll give it 2 more minutes. And guys, if you're here and you're enjoying the training, please drop a like there. Much appreciated. It looks like we have a little bit of a delay, but that's best way to find a team in other markets when virtual. Best way to do that probably, well, one, I would ask, are you trying to partner with someone? Is it for joint venture purposes? Are you trying to get boots on the ground? That'd be my first question. And then other than that, really, everything that I do is really relationship based. So the first thing I'm going to do, if I want to be in a certain market, start again with research, and you start off very big. Just go to Google, see what wholesalers pop up. Now, a lot of times, some of the larger wholesalers who are established may not want to work with you, or they may not want to work with you until you have proven something, you've brought them a deal or something like that. But reach out to them, let them know, hey, I'm interested. I've got a list of cash buyers. Can I advertise some of your properties, etc. So really just have a conversation with these guys. And I can go into a little bit more detail on that. Okay, boots on the ground. Yeah, that we're going to talk about that a little bit more probably tomorrow. And I find having boots on the ground in many ways, it's not really necessary. And I'll explain to you why that is. Obviously, there's a time and place for it, but ultimately, it's not really necessary. And again, I haven't stepped foot in a house in I don't know how long. Okay, I don't visit these properties anymore. That's what I used to do. I spent so much time not only driving for dollars and doing the marketing, but also meeting with sellers, walking through these houses, sitting down with them. And yes, there's a case to be made that you do have better conversion rates when you have that belly to belly interaction. They kind of get to know you. That's how you can build rapport the best. But ultimately, it's not a good use, at least of my time. I felt like it was, giving myself a second job, and that's not what I got into the business to do. All right. So I'll go into more details on that. We'll talk more about what to say, how to set this whole thing up, and how to do it virtually. And we're going to touch a little bit more on that tomorrow. Okay. So on that note, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Just so you guys know, um, I kind of know myself. I warned you guys on day one that sometimes I get caught up in this stuff, and I promise you guys, like these 30-minute sessions that are meant to be very direct, very much to the point. And yesterday we were here for 2 hours. So for today's training, I'm gonna split this up between today and tomorrow. So today we're gonna be talking about kind of why to use AI and how it works. And then tomorrow will be a little bit more hands-on, a little bit more practical, a little bit more setup. I'll tell you a little bit more about that as we get towards the end. All right. What's up? Hey, welcome. All right, so welcome everyone to tonight's training. This is video number 3, and we're going to be talking about utilizing artificial intelligence. This is how wholesalers, and especially new wholesalers, even if they haven't done deals before, this is how they're getting deals faster, they're getting them cheaper, and they're getting them with less effort. Now, as a quick recap, the last 2 videos, some things we talked about, the importance, and remember, nothing, all the AI, the systems, if this stuff, your foundation is not set up properly, all the other stuff doesn't really work. So really quickly, just to blaze through this, make sure you research your market, let the data guide you, no speculation, look at cash buyers, what they're actually buying, understanding what they're buying. The advantages of cyber wholesaling: you can work in the best, most lucrative markets, which means the same amount of money, same effort, same resources, but exponentially more profit. You have guaranteed cash buyers for your deals because, again, you're sourcing that from public record, and there's no shortage of inventory. Get laser focused on one strategy. That best strategy is going to be different for everybody. It's going to be based on your specific situation, your market, your time available, and as we discussed, your marketing budget. So perform your budget audit, review metrics and KPI targets so you know exactly what it takes to do a deal, so you can make it predictable. You can reverse engineer what your daily activity needs to be. Again, choose a strategy that's best for you, reverse engineer. All right. And then video 2, we talked about you are not a real estate investor, even though it sounds sexier, it probably looks a little bit better on the Tinder profile, but you are a marketer, and that's what you want to be very effective with. Now, the number one thing for marketing is prospecting. This is very much a volume game, so you have to, number one, get those numbers in there. Anytime I see a slowdown in a student's business, I can look back and it's almost directly correlated to the prospecting they did 30 to 90 days before that. We talked about marketing, specifically the messaging that you want to be sending. It's not about what you want to you buy houses. It's about how you can help them, how you can solve their problems. We talked a little bit about psychology and some of these psychological trigger words, and the importance of follow-up. Over 80% of your deals will come by way of follow-up, and most of those are going to come after your 5th touch point. So today we're talking about the AI wave. Really exciting stuff. According to McKinsey, if you guys are not familiar, McKinsey & Company, American multinational strategy and management consulting firm that offers professional services to corporations, governments, and other organizations, okay? So they're legit. According to McKinsey, about 24% of current workers will be replaced with AI over the next 6 years. That's 50% of transportation jobs, or 50% in transportation, 86% in food and retail, 65% office jobs. That's from the World Economic Forum. And 72% of marketing will involve AI. It's a 1.65 trillion with a T dollar year industry. Remember, we talked about you are a marketer, not so much a real estate investor. So 72% there. Businesses that utilize AI see 50% more leads. They have reduced call times by 70%, reduced costs up to 60%. 40% of businesses report 6% or more increase in revenue growth, and 80% of customers actually prefer to speak with AI. Now, this is especially true when it comes to wholesaling, because a lot of people, even myself included, right? People generally don't like to be sold to, or they don't like to be in high pressure situations, or when we're dealing in our industry in wholesaling with motivated sellers, people are dealing with tough situations that they're not necessarily comfortable talking to somebody about, something like a divorce or being on foreclosure, something where there's some embarrassment, some shame. And so what a lot of folks are doing initially is they're just trying to get information. They want to know what their options are. They want to know what offer price you have for them. And that's when we talked about attracting in the previous video, attracting people by giving them information, using that lead magnet, for example. And so when someone's calling and speaking to AI just to get some information, that is preferable for a lot of folks because they don't want to disclose their situation and they don't want to be in these pressure situations where you're trying to sell them, where they feel like you have to get a you're pressuring them to sign a contract. And so that actually works very, very well for wholesaling. So the point that I want to make here is AI is here to stay. This is not something you want to resist. You don't want to say, maybe I'll use it, maybe I won't. You also don't want to be intimidated. This is not no longer something where you need to be some crazy gifted programmer. And the I guess kind of analogy I like here is I was very anti-social media when it first came out. I mean, I was one of the first people who probably had access to Facebook because back then there were limited schools, and I went to Duke, and we were one of the first schools on the platform. I was like, this is invasive. I don't like it. Then as time moved forward, I was like, I'm not using it. That's for kids. That's lame. Whatever, whatever. And in certain instances, I still don't like social media. But then I realized, listen, it's not about what I want or what I like. This is what the world is using. This is how I can get business. This is how I can get results. This is how I can connect with people. This is how I can do JV partnerships. And so I had to jump on that wagon. And I want to encourage all of you guys here to do the same. Understand this is not going to be optional. You keep it optional. It's probably a matter of time before you get pushed out of business, but also you're giving yourself a lot more work. And if you're worried about costs, I'll even show you how you can use AI to bring your costs down. But more than that, it's about buying your time back, right? All these things that I used to do manually or even have a team of people doing, you don't really need to do that anymore. So quick refresher, some of the AI advantages that we've already talked about, but automation, speed, efficiency. Automation ensures that your leads are dealt with immediately and uniformly. If someone comes asking for some information, they drop their information on your website, they get contacted immediately. They get their lead magnet immediately. They get an invitation to your calendar immediately. And everything is followed up. Every lead is treated the same. Now, if we rewind over a decade, I would get, leads or someone would call and I'm working a desk job. And then, I'm trying to get back to these people on lunch break. It's not good. And then you can do that when you have just a couple of folks, maybe hitting you up. But over time, it gets overwhelming. And the next thing you know, oh, I forgot to call that person back. And that when I am calling, there are times where I'll see other wholesalers post deals. And I'm like, I have a buyer for that. I know exactly who would take that deal. I call them, I get a voicemail, I leave my message. And then like a week later, I get a call back and they're like, oh, you called about the house? I'm like, dude, what are you doing? It's been a week. So your time can be spent more efficiently on more crucial revenue generating tasks. AI will qualify leads. Remember, we talked quite a bit about speed. So the first to respond to a prospective seller, they're 248% more likely to get the contract. And remember, a lot of these folks, they're not coming to you because they have a relationship built with you. So if someone's looking for information on, I want to sell my house, and you don't answer a call or they don't hear back from you quickly, they're not waiting on you. They're going to Google, they're looking up the next thing, or they're pulling out the next postcard that they got, and they're just going down the line calling people. So there's a massive, massive advantage to being fast. Reduces response time. It works for you 24/7, 365. Never get sick, never ask for a raise, never needs a day off, right? You're 100 times more likely to contact a web-based lead if you return their call within 5 minutes, and 21 times more likely to enter the sales cycle. You reduce manual activities and the follow-up. Again, we want automation on the follow-up. Every marketing channel that I use, there is a pipeline built out behind it where everyone gets hit up at the same time. And it's based on research. So the best times to contact these people with the best intervals in between is all built in. That comes from just years of doing this stuff. And it ensures that nothing slips through the cracks. Remember, one missed call, okay, that could be costing you $20,000. It's not like other industries, or I missed the sale, I missed $10. This is pricey. There's a real revenue uh, connected to missing a call. Okay, so how to use AI? The idea here is not to reinvent the wheel. I'm actually not showing you anything revolutionary. Okay, the wholesaling at its core, the basics are still the same. So we're still running the same business, but we're just doing it more effectively. So AI should be used to streamline those systems, make sure that, again, everything happens the same, uniformly, fast, and for to give you maximum efficiency. Automate your marketing, your systems, your follow up, most importantly, and the repetitive tasks. And in doing so, you're also going to be qualifying leads. So you're not spending time dealing with people who are, quite frankly, just not motivated. It's a waste of your time. So, again, qualifying leads. Now, here is how not to use AI. You have to be very careful because AI is kind of a buzzword right now. And people are using that to maybe, I don't know, maybe sell things or promote things that are not good. They're not good for you and they're not good for your business. Again, we're going to use this to automate our marketing, our systems, our follow up, the repetitive tasks. But some things should remain manual. You still want to, the most important things you want to be doing yourself. So, any type of analysis, making offers, any type of negotiations, those things, I don't even do that over text. It drives me crazy when I see in some of these Facebook groups, people are trying to negotiate price and they'll post screenshots of them talking to a seller, trying to go back and forth over price. You cannot do that. Okay. It's not efficient. Not that you can't, but you really should not. And also, remember, there's a lot of psychology that goes into this, there's a lot of building rapport. Our communication's only about 7% words. The other 93%, things like body language, tonality, and even if you're not in person, that tonality makes a big difference. But you want to be doing those things and having that human element there. So I want you to be very careful and be aware. One thing that I see, I'm a wholesaler, right? Quite often are these ads and promos for robocalling. This is something you want to stay away from. I don't know how these people are even putting that out, but it's 100% illegal and you're going to get into trouble. Now, as a wholesaler, there are times where I admittedly play in what you would call gray areas, meaning when I was doing bandit signs, that's illegal. You're not supposed to do that. You can get fined. Now, I've never been fined for a bandit sign, but I have gotten calls and had to go out and take them down. Every municipality deals with that a little bit differently. I know a wholesaler in Miami, he uses bandit signs and he would get fined every single month. But every month he'd pay like a $3,000 fine and he would make 20 grand. So he was cool with it. When it comes to robocalling, and now the other thing is unsolicited text messaging. That's not something where you're like, okay, I'll just pay the fine. Those fines can go $500 to $1,500 per text message, per robocall. So that's something, if you see that, if you're interested, you're like, oh, Mike's talking about AI, cool, let me jump on that bandwagon. Do not do that, okay? That's going to get you in a lot of trouble. Things that promote like instant ARV, determining ARV offer pricing, it is more of an art than a science, and you can still use some of those tools to maybe give you a baseline, but analysis and really understanding what a property is worth, what cash buyers will pay, that's something that you need to be doing. It really is an art, and you also, especially in your communication or sending offers, the way that I teach this, it's most effective is you want your seller to give you their price first. So if you have an automation that's just shooting them an offer price or shooting them a contract, you're probably going to end up getting burned, or it's very difficult to backpedal from that. You're also not talking to these people and understanding what their situation is, what their motivation is. So often we assume it's just price. For a lot of folks, it's not. It's they don't want to deal with the headache. Some people, it's the time factor. They have maintenance, they have taxes. It's a headache. They live across the country. They want to get rid of it fast. They need some money for something. So those are things you have to take into consideration. So some of these softwares that look kind of fancy, bells and whistles, if they're doing these types of things, just be very wary of that and cautious of that. That's not what we want to use automation and AI for. Anything, hey, we'll automatically make all your offers for you. It's probably going to come back to bite you. Okay. There are aspects of this business that you want to do personally, but using the automations in the right way gives you that freedom and that time to focus on what's going to actually get you paid. So here's kind of how I use AI in my business and some of the things, some of the ways that I use it. So first is going to be conversational and informational. What this means is that my AI communicates and engages with leads and customers via text messaging, via website. So that's the chat box if you come to a website, Facebook, Instagram, Google Business, and text. Appointment booking. So AI handles administrative tasks, things like checking your calendar, booking appointments, any calls, sending reminders, setting up calls, handling any cancellations, coordinating showings, etc. Missed call text back. So when I was talking to you about the the opportunity cost of missing a call, right? You miss a call from a seller. They're just going to pick out the next postcard and call the next person. You want to have immediately an automation that says, hey, I just missed your call. How can I help you? And then from there, not only does that go out automatically, but then you can have the conversational text pick that up and have an entire conversation with your seller or your buyer, but with folks in your business, until you can get to the call or see if it's worth it for you to call back. So again, one missed call can cost you a deal, 10K, 20K, 30K. So any missed calls are automatically responded to. Content, so AI produces content for social media, for posts, for emails, for websites, blogs, and other ways that you can use that. Reviews, this one's really important because a lot of people, they do their research, they want to know who they're dealing with. So anytime you have a successful transaction, it will automatically, I don't want to say harass, but ask for a review, ask for a review. And what happens is it's all automated. So anytime your reviews get a 5-star review, it'll automatically go to Google, go to your business profile, which is going to not only make you look really good, but it's going to boost your SEO. But anything that's 4-star or below, that will come to you internally. So it doesn't get posted automatically. And then you need to use that feedback. It's not just, oh, I'm trying to hide this, but really use that feedback to bring yourself up to a 5. But that's an automation. It's completely automatic. And that really helps you in terms of your reputation. And then workflows and pipelines. So this is what I was talking about, how every single marketing channel has a pipeline built out behind it for all of the marketing, all of the follow-up. And that's what ensures that, again, these leads are treated the same. You're following up, you're making sure you're staying in touch at specific predefined intervals. Also, the messaging is very important because people respond to different things, right? So sometimes it might push on a pain point, or sometimes it might add urgency or scarcity. Hey, we're just buying 2 more properties. If you're interested, let me know, etc. Right? So those are the pipelines, and we'll get a little bit more detailed into that, what that looks like, and how it qualifies prospects using well, obviously AI, but logic-based responses to user input. So here are a couple of examples for you. The first one I'm going to start with um, is a dialer system. Now, I've used a lot of different dialer systems, right? With varying degrees of success. But ultimately, one issue that I always had is this. Like I mentioned to you guys earlier, the vast majority of your deals are going to come by way of follow up. So if you have a list of motivated sellers and you call someone, what are the chances you call them when they're available? I had a student ask me the other day, he's like, man, these people, they're interested. He had a list. These people are interested. He's like, they're not picking up the phone. Why are they not picking up the phone? I thought they would be interested since they filled out my form or whatever. And I told him, I said, man, for me to answer that question would be purely speculative. Some people don't want to talk to you. Some people, they might have been busy. Some people might have been at work. Some people might have been taking a nap. Some people changed their mind. Like, it could be 100 different things. So I told him the importance is, now that you know these people have expressed some interest. I think this came from actually his VA call campaign. These are people who express interest. I said, your job is to follow up, and you need to keep calling these people, but you need to call them at different times. So if you call them in the morning and they don't pick up, maybe they're at work. Call them in the afternoon. If they don't pick up in the afternoon, maybe they're picking up the kids from school. Then you call them in the evening. But you really have to have a way to track this and to make sure that, again, everything is uniform, everything is organized, and that's not something you want to do manually. And so when I've used other CRMs in the past and other dialer systems, one thing that was really annoying is if someone didn't pick up the call the first time, you would either have to manually figure out when I'm going to call them back, or you would have to take the list and re-upload it. But then some people picked up, some people said never call me again. And so you're doing all this different sorting manually. And so often you don't even get to that second call. So the dialer system that I use, what it does is if someone doesn't pick up the phone, it will automatically put them back into the queue. So your follow-up is all automated, and it will do it at a different time of day. So here's what it looks like. You'll basically take your list, you upload it into the dialer system, and then you just click a button and you start calling. Some of you guys have seen me on some of my lives. I do calls. I got my headset on and I have my PlayStation. I just play in between dials. Kind of fun. Play video games while I'm cold calling, and then when someone picks up, I just pause it. So, what was I saying here? Oh, I was gonna say, if you guys want to watch me do that, I have a Twitch channel. I just started it, so you can come on and watch me do calls in the middle of the day. Anyway, I'll give you more details on that later. So what happens is you call. If someone answers it, the system will automatically remove that number from the queue, and if they're interested, it will qualify them and it will move them into the higher opportunity status, into warm lead. And if they say never call me again, it still takes them out of the system, so you don't deal with them at all. If they don't answer the phone, well, bad numbers, if they're disconnected, busy, again, those go out of the queue. You don't deal with them again, they never come back. Um, and then if it goes to voicemail, you'll have a pre-recorded voicemail drop. So you record a voicemail, a couple voicemails, and then those will drop in automatically. And then that number, it disappears. You don't have to think about it again. And it goes back into the queue, but it goes in for the next day, but it goes in at a different time. And then the same thing happens. If they answer, it qualifies, puts them where they need to be. If not, it'll put it back into the back into your call queue at a different time, and they're spaced out. So the first call, for example, let's say they don't pick up the phone, you don't get an answer, that it'll put it back in the queue the next day, maybe in the afternoon if you called in the morning, right? And then if they don't pick up, it'll go away. You don't have to think about it. Comes back the next day. Now they don't answer, it goes away and you don't have to think about it at all. And then 7 days later, when you open up your dialer to dial, boom, that number is there. They don't pick up, it goes away. You don't think about it for the next 14 days. They're different, predetermined times. 14 days later, that phone number comes back in. And that's what so many people miss when they're doing the cold calling. They'll call these lists one time, I didn't get any leads. And that's not how you want to do this, okay? And then remember, we're also leaving voicemails that are getting automatically dropped. So those don't take up any of your time. You're not leaving messages manually. And that's how you become more efficient, even when you're using, I guess, a more rudimentary kind of basic strategy like cold calling. So again, you can apply AI and automations to even the simplest of marketing methods. Another example that we got in here, direct mail. Okay. So direct mail is still very, very powerful. It still works. People telling you, oh, direct mail doesn't work. It's absolutely not true. My business, I'd say about 30% of our deals come in through direct mail. But how I started off stuffing and stamping letters. I would literally go to Walmart, buy paper, buy envelopes, come home, print them, stuff them, put a stamp on it. Had Jade help me out with that back in the day. It was very bland marketing. So again, stuff that I'm printing at home. But the difficulty was manually updating these lists every month. Some people would, you would talk to them, they're not interested. You don't want to spend money, especially when I'm on a tight budget, to mail them again. So you have to really keep track of your list. But then really remember, that's a very much a manual process. But then the key is in the follow-up. So you have to do this minimum like 6 months. So every month you're trying to bring in new lists, new people, but still keep up with like all the old existing stuff. And then you have campaigns going every month, new campaigns are starting, and you're trying to stay on top of all this stuff manually. And then even when I started moving to sites like Yellow Letters and using that stuff, there's still a lot of stuff you kind of got to keep in your head. And you're trying to stay on schedule. And then again, the messaging was poor. We talked about that in the previous video. Just says, I want to buy your house, call me. But what happens after that? Hopefully you get the call, but maybe not. And very poor tracking, no real A/B testing or anything like that. So here's how it's going today. Right now, I take my highest, I'm really big on A/B testing. So I've been A/B testing pieces for years, right? Over a decade. And I have my highest converting pieces of direct mail. And in about 30 seconds, maybe less, I can upload a list and press one button, literally, and it will schedule every piece of direct mail that goes out to a list. It could be a list of 10,000 people. It will schedule and push those out to them for a whole year, and I don't have to touch it, okay? That's how simple and easy this is and how easy AI has made this. My messaging obviously is better now. So instead of saying, I want to buy your house, it's saying, hey, no obligation offer. Not a big deal, man. But you're interested in what I can give you? Hey, scan this code here and, see what we can offer. Now, once they scan the code, then they come into my world. They come into my system. They get qualified. They get moved up to a top priority. All their information is grabbed. It then opens up different automations. You can you get the consent. You can send out the text messages. You can set up automated calls that go out, etc. And then it'll say things like, even on the when you have them on a call, or sorry, on the website, it'll say, are you available for a call? And if they say yes, I will get a call on my cell phone, and it'll say, we have a hot lead for you right now. If you get people who call you on the phone, who call your business, again, you can get calls to your phone. It'll say, we got a hot lead, press 0 to be automatically connected to these people. So that's how we're cutting down this time to make sure that we are touching base with these people immediately. And if they say, no, I'm not available right now, like if the text message goes out, for example, and say, no, I'm not available right now, there are options. Okay, we can assign this to a user. That's helpful if you have VAs or other people on your team. You can assign it to someone to get instantly notified. They can schedule a call. They can get on your calendar. They can speak to an AI assistant to answer any of their concerns, any of their questions. So everything is very much streamlined. You'll see that I'm basically away from this process until my phone rings and it says, hey, man, we got a good lead for you on the line. And so you'll see here, and then all of the timing between these things, they're broken down into how many wait days, how many different steps, right? So this one, for example, will be 14 days in between notices. This one, next one, 16 days, and tries to hit them at different places. The marketing, we'll look a little bit more into that, but again, it's varied. So I've got the small postcards, I've got the handwritten stuff. They've got different messages. One is social proof, one is urgency. The fonts, some of them are yellow letters, some of them are invitations, some of them have the Google street view, so it's like more personal. Some of them are a little bit goofy just to get attention, just to look different. I'm sending all of these different pieces, but again, this takes me 30 seconds to set up, no matter how big my list is. And it's the same thing even with our Facebook ads. Same thing, they all go through that process, and behind it is all the follow-up, and that follow-up takes our phone calls, text messages, emails. They're all written, they're all kind of pre-done, and everyone gets the same messaging. um, so those go out. The conversation I talked about earlier, they have this logic-based activity. So one message, for example, hey, this is Mike with your business. So everything's personalized. I'm here to assist you with your cash offer. Do you have a moment to chat? Now you'll see the logic here, right? Did they reply to the text messages? And if not, we have a wait step, and then the next thing happens. If the reply was negative, they get a different text message. If they say maybe, again, because the system can tell if these responses are positive or negative, they'll get a different message. And then again, if they say, yes, I'm available, that's again when you get the call, and it'll say, hey, we got a hot lead on the line. Do you want to take the call? You press a button, and then boom, you're right on there with that person. Okay, so again, that's how everything gets automated, and it takes out, this is the time consuming stuff. This is like the heavy lifting in your business, but it's not directly tied to revenue generating activity. And that's where you save so much of your time. Follow up and getting contracts signed, right? So let's say a seller enters their information on your website. Remember, it's not just, you have different, I guess you'd call them squeeze pages, right? And some of them are like, this is all about us. If you want to offer, put your information in. And then some of them, like when we talked about with marketing, we want to help. So we're giving you information. So instead of saying, hey, I buy houses cash, say, you want to sell a house in 21 days? Here's a free guide on how to do it. Just pop in your information and it'll get emailed to you. Well, that's a lot more attractive to most people. And that funnel page or squeeze page converts far better than my standard one, just FYI. So they put in their information, and once they do that, all the automations trigger, right? So that text sequence starts going out with those logic-based answers. There's an automatic email drip because they have to give you their email to get the book. So now the emails start going out, the text messages start going out. Again, you can assign a user. The follow-up, any calls, they're prompted and they're scheduled. They can book a call with you on your schedule. If you get to the point where you're ready to put out a contract, that can be time consuming. I remember when I used to fill these things out one by hand and then later type them up. Using AI, I can have contracts fully generated with one click of a button. You just put in the offer price that you want and your closing date, and you click send, and it fills out the whole thing. You have your actual signature on there. It gets emailed to them in an electronic document sign. Like if you guys have seen DocuSign, it's another form of AI. And then they just click the button to sign it. It's authenticated by capturing their IP address, and then you get it back. And it's very, very fast. And that's what we're going for, is speed, not taking time to do all of these things. Okay. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a demonstration here, just as an example of what it's like to use a voice AI agent. Okay. So I'm going to pop over here for just a second. And I don't know, we'll do a sample here. So grab my phone. And I'll just give you guys a little bit of what this kind of looks like. Yeah, my name is Mike. I'm interested in selling a property.
Mike. Happy to help with that. Provide me with property address now.
Yeah, sure. My phone number is 123-456-789, and the address of the property is 123 Main Street.
Now, how many bedrooms and bathrooms does the property have?
It's a 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom.
Got it. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being poor and 10 being perfect, how would you rate the condition of the property? Feel free to share any details you like.
It's probably about a 7.
Are you looking to sell the property by?
Listen, I don't want to answer all these questions. Can you just give me an offer price?
Understand, Mike. To provide an accurate offer, we do need a bit more information about the property. If you'd like, I can connect you with a representative further. Like me to do that?
No, not right now.
No worries, Mike. Change your mind or have any questions later, feel free to reach out. Have a great day.
Okay, so that's just one example of a shorter prompt. There are longer prompts. I can speed up her voice. I can change her voice. I can do all kinds of really cool stuff there. You can see that was where she would auto connect me, but I'm just like, nah, I'm not gonna bother with it. But the other good thing about that is that she will qualify um, your sellers, right? So as an example, one of the most difficult um, questions for people to ask, especially new wholesalers, is okay, how much are you asking for the property? And what the average seller is going to tell you is they're gonna say, well, you called me, you make me an offer first. And most people have a really difficult time dealing with that. And so probably could have gone a little bit deeper down that rabbit hole there. But if I tell her, well, give me an offer price, she'll say, yeah, I can give you an offer price. I really want to help you out with that. I just need a little bit more information. And then there's a whole prompt on the questionnaire about getting a little bit more detailed on the house. And all of this information gets captured. And as soon as that call's over, I'll get an email with the transcript, and she'll say, well, in order to pass this on and get you your offer, I do need answers to these questions. So now it's like you can't argue with the machine. So they're much more likely to give you those things. It's kind of like if you've ever, you're buying something online, right? And you go to fill out the credit card, and then you forget the zip code. And you go to click to the next page, and that red asterisk comes up. You have to go back and give that information. So this voice AI agent is built in the same way. So if you're asking for stuff, hey, can you just tell me this? Hey, can I just get the offer? It'll say, yeah, sure, but I need some more information. I need your information to do X, to do Y, Z. And so they have to give you that information to get to the next point, to get what they want. So it's really, really efficient. And I absolutely love that. It answers calls 24/7. Again, you never miss a lead. You collect all your customer info, overcome tough questions and pushback, including mandatory asking price. You can describe your services and your USP or unique selling proposition. So I could ask her, hey, how long is this going to take? How fast do you sell? Where do you close with? What's the title company? What is the process like? Do you guys need to come out here? What do I need to do? All of those things. You can have a full on conversation with her. Or it could be a guy. Again, you can change the voices. You can make the response time much faster. That one's a little slowed down for our demo purposes. Again, you can transfer calls. So she said there, I said no, but she's like, yo, if you want me to transfer you to a person, I can do that. And then if not, if someone's not available, for example, she'll come back and say, hey, no one's available right now. When's a good time to call you back? And then actually look at my availability, my calendar, and whatever they tell her, they're like, well, how's tomorrow evening? She'll say, oh, let me see. And then if I'm not available, she'll say, well, you know, she can schedule it and give times. Hey, how about Monday at 5? Does that work for you? And schedule that, and it'll get on your calendar. Next thing you know, it pops up on my calendar. So really cool. Schedule calls and appointments, qualifies your leads, and again, fully customizable. So there's a lot of prompts that are go into this, into the build. And so a lot of people see this one, they're like, oh, that's pretty cool, but I'm working with a low budget, or I don't want to spend that much. But if we look at average costs, right? Cost of a typical virtual assistant is going to range from $6 to $12 an hour. Part time, if you're looking at 4 hours a day, 20 hours a week, it's going to be $480 a month, and that's on the low end. Full time, about $960 a month. Again, on the low end. After hours answering services, like $900 a month. Front desk admin services, $3,500 a month. To use that voice agent, you can either do by the minute, which is less than 20 cents a minute. And you can even limit how long these calls are. You can cap them out if you want. Or you can have unlimited voice agents doing unlimited calling in your business for less than $100, um, for less than $100 a month. And remember, any missed opportunity that you have here, if you miss a call like this, it's going to be costing you a deal. It's going to be costing you 10K, 20K, up to 50K. Okay, so that's why you guys need to have these automations and have your software and have your pipelines all built out. Okay, really important stuff. Now, the thing I really want to stress, I talked about this in the beginning, but don't resist this, okay? Don't sail against the wind. AI is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. Your competition right now is already using it, I promise you, or if they're not using it right this second, they will be very, very soon. The efficiency, the ROI is absolutely incredible. And like I told you guys before, I was anti social media. I was like, I don't want to do this stuff. I don't want to be on Facebook. Even when I have students come into the program, um, and they tell me, man, I don't have a Facebook. I don't want to be on Facebook. I'm like, listen, you don't have to invite your friends, your family. You don't have to use your face if you don't want to, but you need to be on there. Okay. Other investors are on there. Your cash buyers are on there. Networking opportunities are on there. Opportunity to showcase properties on there. Motivated sellers are on there. You want to be using Facebook ads. Like, you need to get a Facebook account, right? I don't even argue with people anymore. I used to say, well, you do what's comfortable, right? Now I'm like, no, no, no. Like, you need to do what actually works. And you guys, look, you've seen opportunities like this before, right? And just didn't take action soon enough. So things would be like crypto when Bitcoin first came out. The people who jumped on that, they made a killing. Okay. Amazon and the very first of drop shippers made a killing. And you kind of missed the boat by waiting. So I'm going to encourage you to definitely jump on. Okay. So now is really an opportunity, a chance to take advantage of the system. Um, and really just utilize AI and automations and the power of artificial intelligence in your business. So I told you guys yesterday that we were supposed to do 30 minutes and I ended up doing 2 hours. So I split up today's training. So really today was more what AI can do, and to give you some practical examples of how I use that in my business. The next video, we'll talk about how to set it up, right? So if you're asking specifics about the dialer and how it works, and we can deep dive into the back end of my system, and I can show you how these things piece together, the pre-built stuff, how you can build it yourself. I have also a done for you option. You can basically copy and paste my business. So I'll show you guys all of that tomorrow. But really, there's a lot of excitement. It cuts a ton of costs. Efficiency's up, ROI is up. I love it. Okay. So tomorrow will be all about how to set this up. We'll be meeting here, same time, same place, 6 o'clock. And on that note, I think I did make my what do you call this? My time limit for today. And tomorrow I'll keep it to about the same time, right? We'll keep it very, very much efficient. So now I just want to open that up to um, any questions that you guys have. I'll take those now. And I know there's a delay, so I'll give it a little minute. What dialer? I'll show you that tomorrow. It's a custom dialer, right? It's a custom dialer that I had built out, and uh, because of my frustration with um, the dialers that I was using at the time, and that dialer is not only just good for you, but you can use it for an unlimited amount of employees. So if you have VAs, again, maybe you don't want to be doing the cold calling necessarily, but you just put a VA in that spot, and again, that's still the VA might be doing the initial calls manually, but that's how we're buying our time back, right? And cold calling absolutely, absolutely works. All right, guys. So any questions? Please drop those in the chat. Otherwise, I will bid you a good night, and I will see you here at 6 p.m. tomorrow. We'll do 6 p.m. tomorrow sharp, and again, I'll show you exactly how you can do this in your personal business and set this whole thing up. And it's also going to be a done for you option where you can have it up and running in like maybe 24 hours or so. Okay. Cool. See if my delay is here. Now it's not really. It's going to be more a replacement for Podio. I mean, you can incorporate probably aspects of it, but the way I'll show it to you is, one, you won't need Podio at all. And then tomorrow, we're also going to talk a little bit more about interacting with your sellers and your buyers. So really, that question I think Jerome had earlier about boots on the ground, I'll talk to you about why you don't really need that anymore, and kind of how that really looks, right? Doing this thing completely virtually. Let me check in on our webinar room, folks. Cool, cool. All right. So it looks like we're good in our webinar room. Any you guys have questions? Okay, last call, last call. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to thank you again for joining me. Really appreciate you guys being here. Tomorrow, please come with some questions, right? So I'll try and go through the materials that I want to show you very quickly. And then I'd like to make sure that you get the most from the training, right? So that you can come in and you can get what you want from the training, right? So any questions you have about anything I talked about, any AI, you want to look at some stuff together, I don't know, any wholesaling questions whatsoever, bring those tomorrow. I'll make sure I set aside a good chunk of time for us to do some healthy Q&A. Okay. Thanks so much for joining, and I will see you guys tomorrow at 6. All right. Peace.